Nobody can deliver a pizza like the one you make at home. Homemade pizza will have less crust, thicker toppings, and more additions, and cost much less. The whole family can be involved in the making. Teens love to make the dough, and the kneading is good practice for bread making. Smaller children can chop, prepare, and spread the toppings, and everyone chooses what he or she wants to put on a section of the pizza. Pizza night can be a special family supper.
Homemade pizza can have lots of good vegetables in it and lots of cheese and things that you do not get the quantity in take-out pizzas. First of all, we make our crust, and it's a yeast crust. So we're learning a little bit about making bread. Starting out with 1.5 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. That's 1.5. Now we're going to put in the yeast, which is the leavening agent for bread. I want to stop for a moment and just tell you about yeast. There's traditional kind of yeast, and then there's instant or quick rise yeast. Bread machine yeast is the same product as a quick rise. The quick rise yeast is easier to use because it goes right in with the flour. Traditional yeast has to be put in with some sugar and some water, the yeast sprinkled over it, and then it sits and feeds and ferments for 5 minutes or so. So it takes just a little extra procedure, which it's easy enough to do, but quick rise is easier. Do though watch the cost of yeast. You can buy them like this in 3 strips. There's 1 tablespoon in a strip, but that 1 tablespoon cost 56 cents at the grocery store. You can get it in a very large container, and it works out to 18 cents a tablespoon. And if you buy it in the bulk store, it'll cost you 7 cents a tablespoon. That is a tremendous difference if you're using a lot of yeast. But when you do buy it at the bulk food store, when you bring it home, immediately bottle it and put it into the freezer, and then it will keep, because yeast will deteriorate if it's left at room temperature. And even this, which I'm using regularly in bread making, keep it in the refrigerator. This has been vacuum sealed, so that's why it can just stay in the cupboard until you're ready to use it. Now we'll mix this in. This is only half the flour, incidentally. We use very hot water, just the hottest water that I can get out of the tap. I'm going to add the oil right to that so it's well mixed. 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Before I put this in, I had better remember to put in my salt. 3/4 of a teaspoon. We're just going to beat this a little bit, which will help develop the gluten. The gluten is the stretchy part of bread that makes it rise, and it has that stretchy, elasticy appearance that's in bread. Now we'll add the rest of the flour. It's another 1/4 to 1/4 to 1/2. So we'll put in 1 cup. I really do like to have some whole wheat flour in all flour products. It also gives you more nutrients. It slows down the absorption of the sugars. Now I'm going to have a reserve 1/2 cup in case I need it. We have to get to the point where we start to put our hands into it. This is the dough. Don't think I'm going to need much flour. Whole wheat flour is a little more absorbent than white flour is. Now the next procedure is what you call kneading. And this is a real bread procedure. Make sure your counters are clean, always clean. Remember that your kitchen counters are work areas. They're not places for people to throw their school books and to sit up on the counters watching and so on. Keep it strictly for food preparation and keep your counters clean. So we're supposed to knead it for a while, and this develops the gluten in the bread. Notice the procedure. We fold it in half and push. Quarter turn, fold it in half and push. Quarter turn, fold it in half and push. And as we do that, we're turning the dough inside out. But this is the bread procedure. Quarter turn, fold it in half and push. Get right in with your heels. If you had a big bunch of bread going, you would come in like this. I've got a very small piece of dough here. If you could only see the way it feels, it would be wonderful. That's kind of hard though. But you go by the feel. You can tell when it changes from being sticky to into a nice elastic type of dough. So you just work at it for about 10 minutes. I think it feels about right, and we've kneaded it long enough, I think, because it feels good. Now the yeast doughs need a little rest, a little rise period. Now if you were doing bread, it would need a long rise period, but a pizza dough doesn't need that much of a rest period. So form it into a ball with the cut side down and set it off on the corner of your table and cover it with a tea towel, and then we can prepare the toppings while it's resting. Let's get the pans ready first. Grease your pizza pan. And pizza parlor pizzas will have cornmeal on the bottom. If you don't like cornmeal, don't put it on. But if you want a really authentic pizza, put cornmeal on the bottom. I've also turned the oven on to 425, so it'll be ready by the time we need it. And I'm going to just get some pepperoni ready. Pepperoni's relatively expensive. However, it's nice on pizza, but you could use bits of ham, salami, would be great. Sausage can go on it, all kinds of things. If you want to make a Hawaiian pizza, you could use green pepper, ham, and pineapple bits. Drain the pineapple. And you can always make little pizzas along the way for people who don't like things, and sometimes you have children that don't like this or don't like that, unfortunately, and these children can always have a little pizza on the side. The sauces that we put on pizza, you can make your own, but these little tins of pizza sauce that come are quite nice because it's about the amount of sauce that you need for one pizza. If children don't like the spices that are in the pizza sauce, you can use tomato sauce and not put the spices in, or you can use tomato sauce and put your own spices in, which are garlic and oregano and basil. We'll use the little pizza one that's already prepared. You can also buy this in hot and spicy pizza sauce too. So let's have a look at our dough. Put a little bit of flour on the board just to prevent it sticking. And then we need a rolling pin. Now, if you don't have a rolling pin, you can always use a bottle. Make a rim, an edging. Set that for a minute. Now we've got another little piece of dough there that I saved. we'll put this one just on a cookie sheet and make it into a round as best you can. A little rim. First thing we'll do is put on some sauce. Put it up on the rim if you want to, a little bit, not too far, it'll burn. This is mozzarella cheese. You can also use cheddar cheese. Onions. This is the way you would make individual pizzas for children who maybe don't like an onion or don't want pepperoni or something. It can be very, very individualized. You can even put pepperoni on one side and not on the other side. And then when it comes time to cut it, you just have to remember which side had the pepperoni and which side didn't, and which side had the mushrooms and which side didn't, and so on. Green peppers, great. Pepperoni. Okay. Now you can combine cheeses. If you'd like to have cheddar cheese on it, that's fine too. And mozzarella. And we mustn't forget the mushrooms. And cheese. So there we are. We're going to put this on into the oven on the bottom rack. Since I can't get this one on the bottom rack with that one, I'm going to have to put it on the top rack. Now they will take 20 minutes. There's one. And here's the other little one. Let's put it out on a board. Slip right off. If you have a pizza cutter, that's fine. If you don't, nice sharp knife will do. Okay, that will get us people started. You can always come back for seconds.